comrades on Patreon and supporting this channel. My partner Rosa. Thank you, Rosa. And Independent Left News. Definitely check out Independent Left News. So I thought this was kind of interesting, this tweet, and then this little clip we'll show later. Jackson Hinkle saying, I'm a Marxist-Leninist, I'm an anti-imperialist. I think those first two things are great, should be celebrated, should be highlighted. Obviously, from my perspective, nothing wrong with identifying with being an anti-imperialist or a Marxist-Leninist. But this third one, I'm an American Patriot. What do we think about that? What do we think about that? So we'll look at some of the comments, and then I'll give kind of my perspective. Well, this has sparked quite the debate. No, patriots and nationalists are not the same. What would be the point of working to improve the lives of your fellow Americans if you hate America? It's not antithetical to Marxist-Leninist values to provide critical support/love for your country. Check out my column with Red Lettuce, Proletarian Patriotism. The Parenti lecture might be a good listen for some of you as well. This is petty as praxis. This is quite a declaration with the Q in front of the white, quite the declaration. People have been trying this for years now, but it doesn't really have legs. K and Skittles. I mean, I disagree with that. I love America. I hate the U.S. state. Pretty easy distinction. War is a racket. They're a good follow. Being an ML or MLM and an anti-imperialist requires being opposed to the settler colonial entity that is the USA. Being an American patriot is reactionary and in contradiction with the first two things listed. This is just socialism with settler colonial characteristics. Good luck never winning domestically in America then. LMAO. I'm blue, da da B, da da D. You at patriotism. I don't know. So, I'm a Barbie girl, and my Barbie world life is plastic. It's fantastic. What the abomination. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. I'm a KFC. I'm an AW. I'm a Taco Bell. I'm a combination KFC, AW, and Taco Bell. Sounds about white. America Patriot, LMAO. Yeah, that's them. That's the boys. I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm a child. I'm a mother. I'm a bitch. I'm a tease. I'm a... What? Lenin was patriotic about Russia. I mean, I love my country so much I want to make it the opposite of everything it's ever stood for. Alright, what is this? I just want to see what this is. Is there no volume?
That was based.
That was based. I'm an American. Oh man. America is the leading imperialist power. How can you then be an American patriot? Hype Tucker Carlson. Tucker. Socialism with manifest destiny characteristics. Alright, so there's I'm a choker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. Alright, so that's how the people in the thread are reacting to it. And then he also made, or there's this little clip here. Proletarian patriotism should not be a taboo.
oh my God, burn it down, burn this country down. First of all, I just don't agree with it. But second of all, like, if you actually think that that is the type of strategy, that's the wording, that's the verbiage that you think is going to convince working class Americans to join on with your movement and to believe in a movement to fix this country, you got another thing coming. Socialism.
All right, I'm going to jump in with some of my input now. So he's saying, the people who say burn it down, the whole goddamn system needs to go. It's all fucked. It's not, fit for serving the purposes of improving the material conditions of the people. Jackson Hinkle thinks otherwise. He thinks apparently you're able to tweak the system around the edges somehow. So kind of seems like he's arguing for reformism and not revolution per se, which from my perspective, frankly, that's a bit problematic. There's no way to reform the United States in any real sense that will lead to any lasting positive change. And, frankly, the whole fucking thing should be burnt down to the ground and we piss on the ashes and then we figure out how to build a better system that actually looks after the material well-being of the people and the masses. And, also, I feel like saying you're an American patriot, proletarian patriotism, you got to look at the history of the fucking United States, for fuck's sake. We shouldn't be celebrating the U.S. flag. The United States, for fuck's sake, was founded on the genocide of the indigenous people, the attempted genocide of the indigenous people here, the enslavement of Africans. The fucking 15 million or so that were stolen from Africa, shackled, placed in bondage. That's how the U.S. was able to create so much wealth so quickly, was through that literally slave labor. So again, no, American flag is nothing we should fucking celebrate. It should be taboo. Look at all the fucked up things it stands for. Through the history of the United States, the U.S. government was founded as a white supremacist settler colonial regime, and those disgusting threads run throughout the history of the United States. And again, so I just don't think there's any way to separate the flag from the disgusting history of the United States. So no, we should not be celebrating the U.S. flag. If there was a revolution in the U.S., what does he think? We should just keep that flag? Is that what happened in the USSR after the revolution there? No, of course fucking not. They were not going to be, parodying the Russian flag around. They came up with the flag of the, USSR. Which, let's Google that. USSR flag. Okay, they didn't search, you devil. What the fuck? Why is it not searching? Google. You little fucker. Internet is being extremely slow. Okay, well so there's the flag. Obviously not. They changed the flag after the Russian Revolution, right? Yeah, and you got the hammer and the sickle. Yeah. Oh, fuck. So what does he think? Again, he was saying we shouldn't burn everything down. So reform, tweak around the edges. How are we going to have, a socialist country here by just tweaking around the edges? You think the fucking lords of capital and their defenders are just gonna let that happen? No, you gotta burn the whole fucking thing down, right? And again, this isn't to say that Jackson Hinkle should be counseled or anything like that. I think his analysis on a variety of issues is pretty decent. This is the one where I think he misses the mark, frankly. The U.S. flag is not something we should be celebrating. It should be taboo. Only time, I won't want to see the flag, frankly, is if it's being, burned or desecrated or something like that. Wipe your ass with it. That's about the only use for the American flag that I see. I would not be buying one. I would not have it on my wall. I would not have it on the backdrop in the videos for sure. I would have a flag of the USSR up there. I would have a flag of Cuba. I would have a flag of Nicaragua. I would have a flag of China, etc. Not a flag of the United States. Not a flag of this white supremacist settler colonial state. Again, founded on the attempted genocide of the indigenous people that were here at the time the settlers came over. And then obviously the enslavement of the African people. Imperialist veins run throughout the history of the United States, and that flag stands for so many just disgusting atrocities on every level. And that's why, for my opinion, it's not something that should be celebrated, not something that people on the left should embrace. And so let's see what else he has to say here.
Jesus Christ, why are there so many comments about the American flag? I'm very much a patriot. For all of you that are just like, oh my God, burn it down, burn this country down.
Yes.
First of all, I just don't agree with it. But second of all, if you actually think that that is the type of strategy, that's the wording, that's the verbiage that you think is going to convince working class Americans to join on with your movement and to believe in a movement to fix this country, you got another thing coming.
Well, and if that is actually the case, then let's do some propaganda among the masses. Let's educate people on why it is problematic to celebrate and uphold the American flag as some type of thing that should be celebrated and paraded around as this thing of, good in the world, when in fact it's not. If the masses need a little bit of education on that, then it should be the role of the, Revolutionary Party, the Vanguard Party. They should be serving that role to, kind of guide them in the right direction, provide the education, the propaganda, the information on why, in fact, we should not be celebrating the American flag, why, in fact, we should be burning it all down, whether it be the American flag or this entire settler colonial, regime. So I just don't agree with that. And frankly, I think he is really, almost talking down a little bit to the working class, because frankly, I think there's a lot more people than he realizes that actually see through the bullshit the American flag represents. And for those people that don't, would be our job, as socialists, as revolutionaries, to educate them on why the American flag is so problematic and why it would need to be replaced by something else.
Isn't about tearing this country down.
But but again, everything it stands for is to the antithesis of the other 2 points that he said, that he's an anti-imperialist, that he's a Marxist-Leninist. This country is the complete antithesis of those 2 things. It stands for imperialism. It stands for just unfettered capitalism that creates poverty amidst plenty. It creates all of these issues. This country does that. Okay, so in order to get rid of those issues, it would in fact need to be torn down. I mean, that seemed pretty self-explanatory to me, frankly.
Yeah, socialism is about using the mechanisms that we have in this country to build a 21st century socialism that is based on a history of American progressive.
But again, in order to do that, you got to take the U.S., the American part, out of that, right?
That will actually help this country and help the working class people.
But the country, the United States itself, needs to no longer exist in its current fashion. That is why it needs to be burnt down to the ground. There is no reforming it. There's no tweaking around the edges. There's nothing about the United States, frankly, that we should be celebrating.
Which is the overwhelming majority of this country. I believe in patriotic socialism because I want to help people. Socialism is about improving this country and improving the lives of Americans. If you don't see that, again, I encourage you to maybe broaden your horizons, open your mind a little bit. I think everyone kind of goes through a phase where they're just like, fuck it all, burn it down. Well, one of my closest friends, he's an indigenous climate activist. His name is Chetescott Martinez. He was posed the question, do you love America? If so, why? And he said,
nope, I don't.
I will always
hate it with a passion. Shithole fucking country. If I could convince my family to move somewhere else, I would.
Remember this because it stuck with me. He's like, I love America because of the, capacity for change.
What capacity for change have we been able to see in the United States? Things just keep getting worse and worse. More imperialism, more wars of aggression, more illegal, murderous sanctions all over the globe. More people in the imperial core really struggling, increasing rates of, homelessness, poverty, childhood poverty, massive, prison industrial complex, military industrial complex, for-profit health insurance. The whole fucking thing needs to be burnt down to the fucking ground.
That we have here. Like, we have the potential to create incredible things here.
And I agree, but in order to do that, the United States, the settler colonial regime, would need to cease to exist in order to create the possibility for this positive change that he's talking about. It does need to happen, but I think in order for that to happen, you got to burn the fucking shit to the ground and piss on the ashes.
I don't think it's a matter of whether or not you believe that or you don't believe that. It's a matter of looking at our history and looking at the vibrant working class proletariat history and movements that we have had in the United States and solidarity that we have had in the United States. And there's been many efforts amongst, the ruling class and amongst even now progressives like Emma Vigeland, who will lie to you and tell you that there is no working class history in the United States. But if you've done your research, if you know your history, you know that that's not true. You know there is an incredible working class movement history in the United States. And we do have that capacity for change here. It's just a matter of whether or not we can make it happen. So I'm not cynical. Cynicism is the antithesis of...
All right, so there's his little spiel explaining his proletarian patriotism. He's what was it, the first thing, an American patriot? The United States is an imperialist, capitalist, exploitative, white supremacist colonizer society. True. Also, I'm proud of my country. This is one of those either-or situations because the two statements do not mesh. Yeah, I like this. Marlon Ettinger, the Bolsheviks, before the revolution in Russia, didn't win by waving the Russian flag and extolling the virtues of the past. Thank you, American education system. Very cool. Is the American proletarian prepared to reach out to the rest of the world's working people and join them in their struggle against their capitalist oppressors, who include the U.S. racist regime, which is built to crush the left and extend capitalism all over the world? Is this the thread? No. You can't be a Marxist and American patriot. They are two totally incompatible. Hinkle's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I wouldn't want to go with the sharpest knife thing. I think, again, his analysis is usually pretty decent from my perspective. He's a little bit off in this case. Again, doesn't mean he should be canceled or anything like that. I just think it's, worth calling out these things, when they should be called out. And I think he's a little bit off on his views here. But again, that's okay. We can obviously disagree about this. Argument here being the founding ideals of the USA have always been imperialist. It's far from taboo to support it, just among people who actually understand and live The movement you claim to push for, America's only ever had worthy ideals when you're a white cis man, for sure. The flag is a white supremacist symbol because the state it represents is a white supremacist imperial state, even from the beginning. Of all men are created equal, black people were slaves, indigenous people were slaughtered. When it said all men, it meant all white men. Completely true. Nobody waving U.S. flag ever came to me with good intentions. I don't trust patriots. When I see U.S. flag, I take it as a threat to me and everyone around me. I like that. Boom. So it seems like, I mean, most of the people seem to be kind of echoing what I'm saying here. It is not our, meaning white Americans' place to reclaim the American flag. It's a hate symbol, is rooted in white supremacy and settler colonialism. It always has been. It's not our place to ignore history. Agreed. How much of your house is dorky Americana you bought off Redbubble? I'm not sure what Redbubble is. Fixed it. Proletarian patriotism should not be. I tend to agree. Put that word thing away. That's going to be the thumbnail for this video. The Working Men Have No Country, Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, The Communist Manifesto, which I actually going to start reading that soon. I have that. Imagine thinking social construction is possible in a settler colony. You have colonizing. Maybe a little bit. Maybe just don't agree with you. Right. Pretty interesting. So again, definitely have a differing perspective than Jackson on this issue. Definitely not going to be claiming to be a proletarian patriot or an American patriot. I think the whole damn system needs to be burned down to the fucking ground. We piss on the ashes and we rebuild something from that. Because again, like a lot of people in the comments are pointing out, that flag is the exact antithesis of the other 2 points he claims that he is. I'm a Marxist-Leninist. I'm an anti-imperialist. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, seems like a little bit of cognitive dissonance going on there. But again, I mean, he seems pretty genuine. He was at, the U.S. Capitol for the Occupy Congress thing. He got, arrested and everything, and pretty interesting. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Should people on the left should they be identifying as American patriots or proletarian patriotism or those type of terms? What do you think? Let me know down below. Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe for more content. Peace.